The geothermal industry is still tiny, with 0.1% of the world's energy coming from geothermal source. Carl, why do you think it is that people aren't using this more, even though the technology has been around for thousands of years?
Yeah, good question, and that's a question I initially asked, and what got me really involved in this. I think the key issue is it's really it's really out of sight, out of mind. So because it's under the ground and it's not really something that most people can get access to without doing some major intervention with drilling and stuff like that. The general focus has been for many years now on wind and solar and other forms, but geothermal has been around, as you rightly say, for commercially since 1914 in Italy, and well used for hundreds and thousands of years behind that with Chinese and all sorts of different historical uses. But the key here is I think is really that we focused on other sources of easy energy in the oil and gas space, which has really give us baseload power. And that's been the key. And I think now we've learned a lot of lessons from oil and gas and continue to learn that. And that's really what's going to be the game changer in geothermal moving forward, is taking that oil and gas experience that's been developed over 150 plus years now. We've drilled millions of wells in oil and gas. Every well has temperature and heat. And what we're doing differently now is we've spent nearly 2 years now doing a massive study on the elements of heat and how that heat can be used. And what we do know is heat's everywhere. Aquifers and subsurface thermal systems aren't everywhere, but they've generally been commercialized where they've been accessible to date. And what we want to do is actually use the heat everywhere now, and just introduce the water or the fluid systems into the heat to actually create the energy. So it's really taking that step now from being an anomaly around the world in certain locations, or the theory of it can only be done in certain locations, to the next level, and engineering an approach to actually make it an anywhere solution.
Andy, how would you say the technology has changed for it to get to this point, and what steps are we going to need to take in the future in order for this technology to be more worldwide?
That's another good question. I think that the technology has changed, but something else that's changed is the focus. We have, for example, now an oil and gas input into geothermal on a relatively large scale, and that has led to developments of closed loop systems, and that allows us to basically have geothermal energy just about anywhere. If you ask people about geothermal energy, they will usually tell you, yes, they have it in Iceland. And of course, that's the case, but it's always associated with hot places. So applying CeraPhi's closed loop technology and mitigating risk is a very, very large step ahead in the right direction. And I think that going forward, what will change is that as companies like CeraPhi prove that geothermal energy can be produced absolutely anywhere, creating scalable systems, then other companies will begin to come on board, and that's what we really need. This isn't really just about CeraPhi becoming the largest company in the world. We need as many to come in as possible. We need them all to be successful, because the energy dilemma is huge, and we need as much of it as possible.